A very warm good morning to all the students. I welcome you once again to this fourth day, the online classes organized by the Department of English, Karnataka State Open University. So, and so far we have discussed, since 17, 18, 19, and today is the fourth day. We have discussed novels, we have discussed play, and yesterday a criticism, and today a novel by Ernest Hemingway, an American novelist, that is The Old Man and the Sea. Hope my voice is very much clear to you. You are listening, and today I'm going to teach you this course 9, that is American literature. American literature, where American literature is an area where so many classics have been produced. The classics such as we have Huckleberry Finn, we have the Scarlet Letter, and Moby Dick, even The Old Man and the Sea, many more texts. Okay, and all the writers, poets are described in this paper are very significant, and they have their own, the cherishma in terms of putting the indelible marks in the world history of English literature. See, in this paper, this American literature, there are writers like Emerson and Walt Whitman, Thoreau, Emily Dickinson, and Robert Frost, the Wallace Stevenson, and Nathaniel Hawthorne, Moby Dick. Melville is Moby Dick. Herman Melville is a novelist, and his text is a Moby Dick. It is also called as a great novel, a classic text. Okay, and then we have other writers like the Mark Twain, Hemingway, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Ralph Ellison. So all of these are very significant writer in American literature. And today, in my session, I am going to teach you this text, The Old Man and the Sea. As the title itself suggests, the one side there is an old man, they called as Santiago. The man with lot of endurance, lot of persistence, lot of determination. He is an epitome. He is an embodiment of the strength, the valor, and the consistency, the power, the determination, endurance, and whatnot. He is an epitome of strength, and even at the age of the ripen, he is an old fisherman. He's from Cuba, belongs to that place. And the old man and the sea. And the sea is become a very metaphoric here. It represents, the earth. It represents the women. It represents some Christian values, ethics, morals, and all that. So the text, the entire text, The Old Man and the Sea, it is a microcosm of the entire the world, the Christian world, and how this text upholds some ethical, moral, the issues of Christianity, especially when it comes to, the Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. So the entire text revolves around a fisherman called the Santiago and his companion called Manolin, and they have rest of the characters, or another important character we have here is there's a DiMaggio. He's a baseball player, and then and we have the rest of the characters like shark, fishes, the marlin, and other, the even the nature, the sea, all become very symbolic. So the story revolves around only few characters. So today I'm going to teach you this text. That's The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. And by now, I believe the most of you are aware of this text. Okay, you have read this play, and I mean this novel, and you are already come across, I believe, in your undergraduate. So, talking about Ernest Miller Hemingway, he's an American novelist. All the novel that that he has written are very much significant. There are like we have the best the novels of Ernest Hemingway, an American novelist like A Farewell to Homs, and we have The Sun Also Rises, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, and today's text, that is The Old Man and the Sea. So all the four texts are very, very important. They have their own significance in terms of giving some message to the entire the humanity, entire human world. So I was telling that Ernest Hemingway, he's a Nobel Prize winner novelist. He got the Nobel Prize in 1954 for his novel that's A Whole Man and the Sea. And you're reading a novel which has obtained, which has acclaimed, which obtained this, the Nobel Prize for literature for this novel. So that you understand the kind of a merit that the novel upholds. So his adventurous lifestyle and the public image that brought him admiration. So through this novel, that's the Old Man of the Sea, this writer, the Ernest Hemingway, his adventurous lifestyle and a public image that brought him an admiration. And I told you he's a novelist, he's a short story writer, and he's a non-fiction writer. And as I told you, he's known for his the classic texts such as the Farewell to Holmes and other novels that I've mentioned just now. And I must tell you one thing: his mastery. Where is he command over? What is his strength? The command over Ernest Hemingway's writing efficiency, writing power, his mastery is the art of narrative, the narrative narratology, the narrative techniques, the narration itself is his mastery. The way he narrates the entire novel, and he reached a point where we understand the kind of completeness that he has given to the entire text. So his mastery is the art of narrative that demonstrated in this novel, that's The Old Man and the Sea. And I tell you, he lived in a place called Cuba, an island country in 1930s. So this novel is an early 20th century life it captures. And now, all of your yeah, I'm teaching you a novel today. Some of you are saying the topic today is the text I'm teaching you today is the Hemingway's, the Ernest Hemingway's the great classic text that is The Old Man and the Sea. It's a novel. It's a short novel. It's in the form of a novella. And I told you there are only few characters. The main character it is the Santiago, an old man, and then we have a boy called Manolin. And then rest of the characters are there is one character called DiMaggio. He's a baseball player. It doesn't present in the novel, but his presence, his reflection is much more powerful in the novel. And after that, we have quite a few characters. They're natural characters. Like we have like we have a birds, trees, and sharks, fishes, marlin, another character. So now I must tell you one thing: the how the novel is set up. The novel is this. See, The Old Man in the Sea, which was written in 1952. This text, it's written in 1952. It was widely accepted, appreciated, and recognized as a proof of Hemingway's literary acumen. So this particular novel emphasizes on that how Hemingway has reached the pinnacle of success in the world of literary acumen, literary classic, literary canon, in the form of a canon in the classic. This text, the Old Man the Sea, he upholds, and it gave him a huge recognition in terms of in terms of power, name, and all that. So in the world of literary acumen, he has dived deep into the sea of literature. He dwell into the world of sea of literature to seek out new experiences and truth. He's find a kind of a newness, a truth in the world of literature. So what is that? Discarding all thoughts of pain and suffering to vindicate his self and his genius. So when you read American literature, there is one ism called transcendentalism, which talks about an individual, the soul, the divinity in soul. The God dwells within us. So when the God dwell within us, and you're not supposed to scare for anything. You should celebrate your individuality. You celebrate your the kind of a consistency, the power, and all that. So here he's somehow he representing the entire American transcendentalistic values. Okay, so what happened? So I told you this text he's got his Nobel Prize for his the mastery of narration and got the Nobel Prize for literature in 1954. So this is a brief introduction about the text. And I must tell you another quite a few lines, and I get back to the novel analysis. So what I do in my entire arc, as much as possible, I try to give you the novel picture. For example, what happens in the novel The Sons and Lovers? What happens in the play that's Six Characters in Search of Another? What happens in the criticism like Aristotle Poetics? If I give you the gist, and I strongly advise you to immediately you make use of my point, the point that I'm discussing here, and immediately just go and open the notebook and you read it once, and you certainly get some points, and you mark then and there and make a point wise, and that helps you to for your exam preparation. So this is one thing. So this is one. The another brief introduction I must say about this text. Then I get back to the novel analysis, the novel, giving the novel in a nutshell form. The kind of analysis, the entire picture of the novel, and that certainly paved the way for your further narration, understanding, or reading from the text. So the events which are take place in the novel, the events takes place in the central portion of the Atlantic Ocean north of Cuba. The entire novel captures, in the north of Cuba, in a place in the central portion of Atlantic Ocean. Because he's a fisherman, he start his journey through boat, and he's trying to fishing. He's fishing, and his business is that he's a professional fisherman, and he goes for fishing every day, and he comes with empty-handed. He did not catch a single fish. So people of that village, the people of that place, they called him as an unlucky fisherman. Much before I'm narrating, giving the entire novel in a nutshell, I'm telling you he is called as an unlucky fisherman from the villagers. But the question is, does he prove that he is a lucky fisherman? Does he prove that he is succeeded in life? Does he prove that he caught a great fish, and he prove that people that yes, he is a successful fisherman? That is a big question. So when before we understand the text, one point come to our mind is he is the Santiago. He's a fisherman. What kind of fisherman? He has been to the sea n number of time to catch fishes, but he did not. And people have called him as an unlucky fisherman because he is not lucky enough. He doesn't catch the fish at all. So people have believed him. They branded him as an unlucky man. But despite of that, the Manolin he joins a companion, a boy who assists him by giving some coffee, by giving something. And here the story between the Manolin as an unlucky fisherman and Manolin as a successful fisherman. So the story revolves around these two concepts. So the moment if I say Santiago in the beginning of the novel, you should know that no, Santiago he's an unlucky fisherman, and he proved one day by catching a great marlin. And how did he catch that? Is he successful in bringing back the to the seashore? Did he catch the marlin? Did he bring back the marlin to the seashore? Was he successful in it? Was it so easier for him? Is it very difficult for him to catch such a fish? What had happened? And what is the reaction from the public? What is the reaction for the other fishermen? What is the reaction from the Manolin parents who called him as an unlucky fisherman? If you look at the transcendental values of American literature that uphold the kind of resistance, the kind of a power, with the soul and integrity, and if such is the concept which are going to be portrayed to the character called Santiago through our Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway, then how did he portray him? So that is a big question further. Okay. And I told you, the event take place in the central portion of the Atlantic Ocean. So that is the place where the novel takes place. Remember, at the north of Cuba. Cuba is a place. And then Santiago, he is an old Cuban fisherman who fished in the Gulf Stream. It is this Gulf Stream where he has been making trips for 84 days. He made a constant trips, the incessant trips, almost for how many days? For 84 days. He goes to the fishing, he goes to the sea, and he goes for, and then he comes with a empty handed. That is the picture that we get in the beginning of the novel. It is this Gulf Stream where he has been making trips for 84 days without catching a fish. The sea has therefore a geographical location and reality, it belonged to the world of material object. So sea has become a material object where a man he dives into the sea and in the name of fishing, and does he get prosper? Does he become a prosperous? And will he become a prosperous? Did he get does he get what he require, what he actually targeted in his life? So this is the but after that, in the 85th day, he caught a great marlin, and even he start his expedition via boat to the sea and Atlantic Ocean, where he tries his luck. So let us come back to the story, and whether he is succeeding in even before that, I just want to introduce some character. I told you the characters like Santiago. He's a very thin built, and his eyes are blue like a color of the sea, and and his physical feature are typical of a fisherman. He looks typical fisherman, and then he visualizes catching a big fish, a little aware of the attack of the sharks, attracted by the smell of the blood. So that happens in the novel, and I tell you further. And after that, we have another important character. I told you that is Manolin, a boy. Manolin was attached to a Santiago at first, but when Santiago returned empty-handed from his fishing trips for 40 days continuously, his father withdrew him to attach him to other fishermen who were lucky and caught his fish regularly. So once upon a time, when he was gone for expedition for almost 40 days, 40 days, and his parents have decided, Manolin parents have decided, he's an unlucky fisherman, do not go with him, we better go along with other fishermen. But despite of 40 days, and though he made 84 days of expedition, until then he was proved that he's an Ireland man, he's an unlucky fisherman. So Santiago, I mean this boy, Manolin, despite of he is considered as an unlucky fisherman, and he hopes that he will hook a wonderful fish a fine day. The boy still believes that the Santiago will come with a big fish, and Santiago too reciprocates the boy's love regard. And Santiago tells the boy, yes, certainly, I'll get a big fish a fine day. So there is a reciprocate, a ಪರಸ್ಪರ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. The boy tells him that yes, you will certainly get a fish. And he looks upon the later as an inseparable part of his life. And even the Manolin also, the Santiago also thinks that this boy is an inseparable in the life of Santiago. And then Manolin was nearly 5 years old when he was placed under Santiago to learn fishing. Both of them went out together on fishing expedition. The boy was once nearly killed when Santiago hooked a terrible fish, which nearly tore the boat to pieces. Manolin clearly remembered the incident with a grim joy. And here the Manolin remembers once he had gone to fishing along with Santiago. They caught a fish, they killed a fish, and they failed to bring him back to the seashore. So all this memory the boy gets. I haven't gone through the novel yet. I'm still analyzing. I'm giving you some introduction to the characters so that I'll get into the story further. And after that, we have Marlin. It is the Marlin occupies unique position in the novel. Half of the novel covers this Marlin, because Marlin is a commodity here. After in the 85th day, when he bringing back to the seashore, when the Marlin caught in this, when he caught the Marlin in his net, and when he's bringing back to the seashore, and he could not bring it successfully, he only could bring the skeleton of the Marlin because something had happened. I tell you when I just described the novel. So Marlin is also important character, and we have the sea. Sea is given a very feminine quality here, and and I tell you how sea treated as feminine here, the further of the novel, and then we have other character called the sharks. So there are fishes, shark, marlins, and marlin and other important character along with Manolin and the Santiago. So now getting back to the story, what happens in the story? See, there is one dictum. ಒಂದು ತತ್ವ ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು doctrine ಇದೆ. What is a doctrine? What is a philosophy? The philosophy which is there in the novel, that is, the man can be destroyed but not defeated. I can be rather destroyed myself, but not defeated. ಸೋಲು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಇವನು. He doesn't accept a defeat. He can rather defeat him, destroy himself. So this slogan called "The man can be destroyed but not defeated," which reflects the entire novel, which reflects the life of Santiago. Keep it in your mind whenever when you analyze this novel. So because that lines are very very important. And now, see, this is what happens. See, the Santiago, the story starts. I am just coming back to the story. We are plunged immediately into this story. So I'm getting to the story so that we can keep our further discussion further on. The story meeting the old man Santiago, who has just come back from another unsuccessful fishing expedition in the Gulf Stream. We meet a person, a fisherman, a Santiago. No, he just come from another unsuccessful fishing expedition. He went for fishing and he comes back with an empty-handed. This is how the novel begins with. Okay, and I told you the entire story. It revolves around a fisherman called Santiago who catches a great marlin, and ultimately he could not bring it back safer. And then what happens? So he's considered as an unsuccessful fishing expedition in the Gulf Stream. He has by now made 84 trips without catching a fish. So this is the point number one. What is the point number one? This man, the Santiago, he's an unsuccessful fishing expedition in the Gulf Stream. He had gone to Gulf Stream and he has come back with a empty-handed, and he has by now made 84 trips without catching a fish. And then, consequent upon his continued failure, his companion, a boy called Manolin, whom the old man has taught to fish. So here we come across another character, that is Manolin, to whom the Santiago teaches him how to fish. Has been sent to his parents, again the boy's wish, and will to another boat after the old man had returned empty-handed for 40 successful days. I told you, in the beginning of my explanation, that the boy was withdrawn by the parent because this man was an unlucky man, because the parent decided to send the boy to other fishermen. So this is what happens there. And the old man, in his skin burnt the brown by exposure to the sun, because since he makes a frequent expedition, his skin is burnt. It has become brown, and his hands scarred from handling the fishing lines, because he holds frequently the fishing line. His hand has become scarred, and has had to carry on alone for the rest of the time. But the old man is still cheerful and unbeaten. And despite of all this, the kind of the weak physique, this man, he still want to have a determination, determined and persistent to with a cheerfulness as an unbeaten, that he is not going to accept his defeat, and he decided to go for fishing, even more. Then what happens further? So this is the first point that we come across when we delve into understanding the novel. Hope you're getting the point. Are you able to follow the text? So far, whatever I've narrated, the entire the concept related to this text. I hope you're able to follow the text, and you're simultaneously getting all the concept, all the characters, the descriptions made by my presentations. And where many of the other fishermen had assembled to fast funny remarks. So one thing we come across, there are many other fishermen. They're passing on a comment. What is a comment? They're making fun of him. They're making fun of him because he's not a good fisherman. He's an unlucky fisherman, and all the people have been making a lot of comment on him. But the old man is not annoyed. He was not annoyed. He was not deeply hurt, and he wasn't annoyed by them. And or anger by being ridiculed by them. He did not get anger or annoyed by being ridiculed, but he was readily ridiculed by this, bitterly ridiculed by these people. And then after that, we have, and I just tell you the story based on the episode incident, because my see, after all, name of the novel, some of you are asking, it's been almost 24 hours, 24 minutes that have been told probably from 20 times this novel, The Old Man and the Sea. Okay, and coming back to this episode, The marlins they catch are sent to Havana. There was a practice in the Atlantic Ocean. The fishermen, what did they do? What the practice that they made? The practice was the marlin they catch are sent to Havana. Havana is a place where all the marlins, big fish, will be sent for business, for selling, whatever. And wild sharks, the big fish below marlins, if any brought in are sold to the local factories. So there were two practices. The Havana is a place where the marlins were sent, and for the local factory, these sharks fishes were sent. Entire novel, you don't come across any other sudden reversal, sudden shift in the story. It is only a polite and a slow narrative, the way you come across the life of a human being and the life of the sea and the seabirds, the vagaries, like the vagaries in the sense ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲವು ವೈಪರೀತ್ಯಗಳು, ಮನುಷ್ಯನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ವೈಪರೀತ್ಯಗಳು, ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ವೈಪರೀತ್ಯಗಳು. What happens in the vagaries of the mind of a writer, that's, I mean, the character Santiago is very much determined to to one day to vanquish, or to defeat this Marlin, and he win over it. Now you want to conquer it. And whereas the vagaries of the sea, whether the sea permit him to take the what he desired for, what he thirst for, what he crave for. So everything has a different vagaries, because nature is something mystery which is as simple as riddle. You can't be solved easily. So what happened? The friends of the man are, however, kind to him. He has been giving a newspaper. Some of his friends are very kind to him. They give him newspaper, and they try to the bolster, the encouraging to go for fishing. Probably you will certainly be a good fisherman. And gradually, what happened? The old man and the boy talk about the game of baseball. So after some time, sea expedition, they have to spend some time for this, enjoyment in terms of having conversation, discussion. So the Manolin and the Santiago, there is a good companion between them. So they share one another, they discuss one another, and even the Santiago likes the companionship of Manolin. And the old man and the boy talk about the game of baseball, which is the old man's sole interest beside fishing. Beside fishing, old man, he was fascination for baseball playing. So he was a good player. And cheat by his talk, the old man expresses hope for the better fishing. And they had a conversation, and the man will say that after remembering the whole, the game, baseball incidents, memories, they also talk about, the boy encourages him to, yes, I find it, you should win over it, we should get it. And what happened? So here, the love the boy cherishes for the old man is shown in his desire to bring the old man water from the village. So the old man, so you know that you can visualize the picture. The old man is almost in a poverty stricken, because he's defeated a number of times, and they call him as unlucky fisherman, lot of humiliation. Despite of that, the boy goes to the house and bringing some food, bringing water, bringing some eatable, and he doesn't give up old man. He still loves him, and village supply. And he loves his companion, and his company, and he loves his because he thinks that a fine day he will also be a successful fisherman. He certainly will know it, because there is a kind of dependency, or the compatibility between them. So what happened? The love the boy cherishes for the old man is shown in his desire to bring the old man water from the village supply, and so a good clean towel and cloths to protect him against the rigor of winter. So gives him some cloth, gives him some towel, gives him some soap, gives him something, and all that. The way the old man eats his meal, talk of baseball comes up again. So frequently he talks about the memories of the baseball. The old man's hero of the game, and the source of his inspiration, is the great DiMaggio. I was talking about a character called DiMaggio. DiMaggio is a great baseball player. So the old man's hero of the game and the source of his inspiration is who? It is none other than the DiMaggio, because DiMaggio is a great inspiration to Santiago, and Santiago is inspired from him. And he decided to always remember DiMaggio, and finally he will never accept his defeat. And what happened? The old man's hero of the game and the source of his inspiration is a great DiMaggio, whom they had once been too shy to invite for fishing when he has visited the village. So there is a wonderful memory that DiMaggio has visited once to his village, and all the people they're asking him to come and fishing along with us. Why don't you fishing? Keep made a fishing, make a fishing along with us. And so here DiMaggio feels a little shy, and he went uh, to play along with them to do a fishing. And turning his mood to the past, the old man recalls how he, as a sailor, had sighted lions on African beaches. So he also recalls some memories that he saw the lions on African beaches, because Africa is a place where there are a lot of lions, and he could see that on the sea, on the beaches, on the seashore, and the lot of lions that were fighting. He caught the sight of these African lions. Although the conversation, the boy's admiration for the old man is apparent, but one thing was sure, that the boy had a lot of admiration to this old man. So others may be distinguished baseball players, but he is still, in his eyes of the boy, the best of a fisherman. So other may call him as an unlucky fisherman, but the boy, he's still the best, the fisherman. And what happened? Even before he goes for a fishing, one thing had happened. During his sleep, dream of a long golden beaches of Africa, the roaring surf and the boats of the native. Being old, he no more dreams of violent activities. He dreams only of places and the lions frolicking like a cat on the beach. Before he makes an expedition for the fishing, this man, he dreamt something. What? He dreamt of lion, the frolicking in the sense like in a playful joy, like a cats on the beach. Like how the cats play one another, in the same way he dreams something in his mind, something that the fighting, the playful mind of the lions on this place. And what happened? The further he leaves the harbor, the seashore, with many other boats, rowing slowly to his chosen fishing spot for out to sea. So now he decided, the 85th day, he decided to somehow he has to prove himself that he's a good fisherman. He decided to go on the 85th day, and let me delve into this action. Let me plunge into this action. Plunge into this action. He decided, and he perceives. He hears the occasional flying fish breaking the surface of the water. He could see some when he started his journey expedition to the boat, and he could see some there are a lot of flying fishes come around here and there, and he calls them breaking the surface of the water. They are his friends in as much as they show the presence of bigger fish. He called that these flying fish are my friends. Probably they may showing the better way for this marlin, for the bigger fish. He feels sorry for the seabirds who have hard life. He talks about the seabirds. Oh my goodness, oh my God, these seabirds are looking beautiful, wonderful, but they have this hard life. They're suffering a lot. Probably they hardly get something to eat. So he feels so empathy towards the seabirds who have a hard life, being subject to the vagaries of the sea. They were subject to the vagaries of the sea. We don't know what happens in the sea and how they will suffer a lot in their life. So he talks about the seabirds and other creatures, and he watches the line. Despite all that, he watches the line so carefully and well, awaiting turn for the better in his luck. And he goes further. He control over the line, and he decide that yes, I should not leave my control over. I should get along. I should go even furthermore. And he rows that towards a man of a warbird circling over some flying fish which are being chosen by dolphins. And you could see there are a lot of dolphins, there are a lot of fish flies, which giving him some hint that there could be a further big fish. So these are all the things that he come across. And now, by now, the old man is almost out of sight of a land, because he has gone for fishing. He went a little further inside the sea, the ocean. He's going a little furthermore and furthermore, and he could find that he could not see the land at all, because he's in the amidst of the sea. And he's there, and it's very dangerous as well. And just imagine, wherever he looks at, he could only see the water and nowhere the land. And now he has is make his mind even more determined, either to catch a good fish, otherwise he get back, because he thinks that of course he has gone a little furthermore, he has gone almost in the middle of the sea, and I should not go back without having a fish. He determined to have it. And what does he do? By now, the old man is almost out of the sight of land. His lines hanging into the water that is a mile deep. He has gone long forth. The hot sun is high in the sky overhead, and he is tempted to sleep with a loop of line around his toe. And he talking, he needs a rest because he's completely exhausted. And but he decides against this at the thought that this is his 85th day without a boating a fish. Remember, I haven't caught any fish yet. I should not sleep. I should not being sluggish about it, and I should not keep silence. Otherwise, decided to come back or whatever. He decided to go furthermore with the determination and to decided to catch that. With an expert touch, he holds the line, feeling the gentle nibbling of a fish, which he knows is a marlin. Nibbling in the sense, with a gentle touch, he controls over the line and he dragging towards him. And he could find out that yes, there is a big marlin is caught in the net, in the fish net, and he thinks that yes, probably something a big fish has been caught, and I think I'll be lucky enough. The old man can't move the fish because he's dragging towards, and he can't even move it because it is such a weight. And even though the line is as tough as he can make it, and the boat is towed slowly along, the line held over the old man's back. And he, with all his force, he controls and holds and he dragged towards him. And he could not have the control over it because it is a big fish. So during the night, something takes one of the other baits, and the old man cuts the line, fearing that if he hooks another fish, it might cut the line in his holding. He can't even think of any other fishes, which are jumping up, and he can't do so. If I control over them, and he will leave the line here. So he thinks, not ever doing for the small fishes. I should catch this bigger one. He also cuts away the other line, remembering that he does not have the boy to help him in an emergency. But there are no other person, even not the boy, is there to help him out. But somehow he has to manage on his own. Now that everything that might occasion troubles is clear away, and he has big resolve for life, and he holds that he will stay with the fish until he's dead. And he decided that yes, till my death, I should never leave the line, and I should never give up these fish. I should do or die. I should die, can rather die, but not defeated. That's the reason I told you that the man can be destroyed, but not defeated. And that is one of the features of the principles, the doctrine of the transcendentalism. And you have to read that what is this transcendentalism is all about, and it is described very well in your study materials, self-learning materials. I want you to read them very carefully. So what happened? So here, the old man feels love and respect for this fish, but owes nevertheless to kill it. He doesn't want to kill it. But what does he do? He feels comforted when the exhausted birds rest on the taunt line. By now, sit back is very sore. He talks to the birds, thinking of the dangers it and all men and creatures have to face. And he feels that he's talking with the birds. He talks about, even you also should struggle a lot, and so do I. And he's talking about how the entire human being creatures have to be suffer, and it is a very hardship of life. And now what does he do? But he can't keep away from his mind that he caught a big fish, a very big fish caught in the nets. As he notices steady and slow improvement in his left hand, the fishing line begins to change its slant, and he knows that the fish is coming up. The fish, in all its magnificence, leaps from the water, and the old man observes that it is 2 feet longer in size and a skiff boat. It is such a long fish, and and what happened, the old man feels better after the prayer, and he pray for god, the Christ, and to subdue his physical suffering pains, and to get him to give him strength. And he decided to throw over another line to catch a fish to eat, being determined to kill the marlin, and thus prove the boy that he is a strong, a fisherman. and he decided, and he needs something to eat them, and he catch smaller fishes, and he regained the strength. And the man feels very exhausted by now, and he tries to think of the other things, especially baseball, which will keep him up for the moral determination. He is determined to be worthy of the renowned baseball player DiMaggio. He quite often remembers DiMaggio because DiMaggio is the one who gives very strength and support, and through memory, who achieved the perfection in spite of the pains of a bone spur in his heel, despite of a lot of pain sufferings in his leg, and he could do a better job when it comes to baseball. And what happens? He thinks of stars as his friends. Not only DiMaggio, the old man, he thinks the stars up in the sky are his closer friends. They become very much visible, and the fish is his friend too. I think that this fish is my closest friend, because I'm not going to give it away, this fish, because this is my commodity, this is my part, this is my destiny, this is my determination. I should bring back this soul to the fish, this fish to the shore. He thinks that, and but he is nevertheless determined to kill it still. He's so sorry too for the great fish, and he feels that the people who will eat it are nearly worth of it. And he thinks that the people who eat this marlin are much more lucky. They're very much lucky, and they're not even really worth themselves to eat such a fish. So he talking about all that. And what happened? So off, and he catches some small fishes and he eats them. And now, by now, the great fish jumps again, and the old man struggles to control the line, which is cutting his hand badly. Because the marlin is twisting and twisting, turning across him, almost move around, and such a the weight, and he can't control in his hand, and he started bleeding, and he's having a very bad pain. He hits another flying fish because he has to gain the strength. He catch small fish, and he to renew his strength. And as the sun rises, the fish start to circle, and but he's still holding the net, the control over the row, and the marlin, it is circling over there. And then what happened? The 2 hours later, the fish is still circling, and the whole man is exhausted. He calls on God to give him endurance and promises to say 100, and he pray for the God to give him such a strength and to determination. And now what happened? Almost blind from exhaustion, and he was completely exhausted, and he was become blind because he lost his strength. And what happened? And he thought confused. He struggles to turn to fish into its side so that he can harpoon it. Harpoon in the sense like he has a spear in it, and he kills it with that. Otherwise, he can fire it. The harpoon is a weapon where we uses it for killing the marlin. So the last fish, the rolls over the old man, summoning all his strength, harpoons it. He takes all his, the weapon, and he tries to hit on it, and the fish is killed. The marlin is killed by now because he uses the harpoon, the weapon to kill it, and he killed the marlin. And what happened? Because after all, he's exhausted. He by the time he invoking the presence of God, by the time he's remembering the God, Christ, which means he's almost unconscious by now. He has to regain his strength, and at any cost he's not getting the strength. Well, then what does he do? And he let me kill it, because by the time it twist and turn around, and he couldn't control over physically with all his power, and he decided to kill it, and he shoots it, and he kills it with his harpoon. And that gives a turning point. So that gives the turning point to the novel. The fish is killed, its blood pouring, and out from the harpoon, wounded like a cloud. So the blood, it circles and circles. It covers the entire sea, and it gives a bad smell where the rest of the sharks and the rest of the animals can follow towards him. So what happens now? Here afterwards, we have a very much curiosity whether the sharks allow this the Santiago to take the marlin to the seashore. Otherwise, the sharks will never leave this marlin. They take away along with them. And dear students, so far I've narrated the entire story for 44 minutes, 45 minutes almost. And hope now you're able to follow that you're on the line, your parallel narration is, you're there and you're getting the novel simultaneously. And by any small doubts, questions, clarification here and there, you can just drop me a message. And if it is a very relevant and the pertinent, I answer then and there. Because when the sessions get over, after that I won't be able to look at the questions. So then and there simultaneously, here and there, any crucial doubt that you have, if you put over there, I can just look at them and answer simultaneously, in the parallel narration. So that one. So what happened? So now, by now, the great battle is over. So the battle in the sense between the Marlin and the Santiago, and over, the fish must be lasted to the side of the boat and the sail set for home. So now the sea, the marlin is dead and it is silent. Now can he drive toward the home? Will with his row will he bring back to the seashore? The old man calculate the weight has 1,500 pounds, and he thinks that this marlin is a weight of around 1,500 pounds. Such a huge, the profit to him, and knows that it will mean a fortune in money for him also. It gives him a very good fortune, and he'll be a control over it, and he's so lucky. Okay, and that's one thing, and it will mean a fortune in money for him too. He thinks that the great DiMaggio would be proud of him that day. And probably in case of if DiMaggio, the football from these from the football player, I mean sorry, the baseball player, the DiMaggio, had he been there, and he would have been very happy that he could catch this such a great fish. And then further, what happens? All goes well until the first shock. So everything goes well until the first shock followed. The scent of the marlin's blood. I told you when he kills through the harpoon, metal weapon, and he hit to this marlin and it dead, and but you can't stop the blood. So after the blood, pour out, all goes well until the first shark, the follow the scent of the marlin blood and speed toward the old man's boat. So all the sharks they come toward the marlin boat and they're following it, and by now, and they're going to catch this marlin. The thing is whether the sharks will attack the old man, otherwise attack the marlin. That's a big question. And what happened further? So, driven in the frenzy, this man is completely lost his control and he was driven frenzy. He lost his control, has become unconscious. So, the shark lashes out, the breaking the harpoon rope and taking the harpoon with it. The old man knows that the marlin's blood will attract even more sharks, but feels nevertheless that it will, if even if they deprive him of his fish, which is his triumph, he will not be defeated. I know there is one that conscious pricks him that though these sharks takes the entire flesh of the marlin, let them take it away, but I don't accept that I have defeated. He still feels that yes, he was conquered. He was win over it, and he wonders whether the great DiMaggio would have approved of his harpooning of the shark, expecting further shark's attack. He lashes his knife to one of his oars as he sails onwards. So he uses all his the weapons, instrument that he have to even to kill the sharks. But despite he controls, he has become frenzy. He lost his consciousness, and somehow he is completely physically devastated. He is mutilated. What do you say? With a lot of because sharks attacks him, the blood comes from the body, and he's almost become unconscious. And but since despite what does he say? As he sails, he wonders about the nature of the sin, and he thinks that the nature should not have done that. The nature, he regrets. It is a sin, he believes. Had it been a sin to kill the fish, although he had felt low for it, he wonders whether he has killed the fish not only because he is a fisherman, but also because a pride after sailing for 2 hours. I could kill it. I could have brought it alive, but I could kill it because of a lot of problem that he confront, because of his pride. Yes, if I kill it, they would call him as a lucky fisherman. keeping that in his mind, he brought, he kills it, and the repercussion, the implications, or the result, the consequences are such that. But also because of pride. So what happened? And after sailing for 2 hours, the old man beholds two more sharks approaching, exciting by the scent. So the lot of sharks also approaches towards him because of the scent, because of because of the kind of the blood, the smell they are approaching. He manages to kill both of them with his knife, and he kills them, but not before they have torn off much of the best part of the fish. But the sharks attacked the marlin, and they torn the body and took the flesh from the marlin, and they're taking the leaving the marlin, like the skeleton. They're attacking the marlin now, and the old man notices his fortune literally vanishing before his eyes. The entire wealth, the fortune, whatever he gained, they're vanishing. ಅವನ ಕಣ್ಣ ಮುಂದೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ, they are diminishing, they are vanishing, they are taken away by the other rest of the sharks. And what happened? The next shark comes, and again the same, attack the marlin, and now he wonders, what is our fish? The marlin has become a half. Half of the fish is remained, and as he calls it, would have done to the shark with his spear. And had it been swimming free, discouraged now and in darkness, he feels that he should not have gone out so far after the fish. He in regret now. Once I caught the fish, I could have certainly come back, would have come back, but I should not have dwelt even more further. And that's the reason. This what happened. Remember, once he was hungry when he was taking the flying fish. He should not have done that. Then and there he could have brought back the entire marlin to the seashore. But he suffers for it. Still uncold, he hopes that no more sharks will come, but by midnight he has to fight more of them. And what happened? No more sharks come because there is nothing left to eat. By now, the lot of sharks are approached, and they are going to, kill the entire marlin. They are going to eat bit by bit, and you could see it is just empty. It is just a mere skeleton. The old man is destroyed as he sails homeward. By the time he's bringing back to the seashore, and this man is completely, devastated, and he was completely destroyed. But he wasn't defeated, one thing for sure. And reaching the deserted harbor, and he comes on the harbor, the seashore, and sometime later, he realizes how weary he is. He struggles homeward, and he thinks that how, with a hardship, I reach the seashore. And then he reaches his hut at last and falls asleep. He reaches to the seashore, and he fell asleep. He completely devastated, and his heart broken because his entire, the wealth, the property, the fortune that he desired for, and it is vanished right in front of his eyes. And he comes to the seashore, and he falls asleep. The next day, the boy finds the old man asleep, and the mandolin come forward to him, and he looks at the mandolin. He's completely, unconscious, and he could find weeping at the sight of the hands, and he sees the eyes of the old man. He was bloodshed. The head has become rough, and everywhere the bloodshed, and he thinks that this kind of destiny should not have befallen on. The Santiago, because Santiago is the one he's very much concerned to this man. Remember from the beginning till now. And what happens? The next day, the boy finds the old man asleep and weeping at the sight of his hand, and he goes off to get some coffee. And he thinks that, yes, let me go and get some coffee to the old man. And he goes and he fetches him some, stuff to eat also. And what happened further? And he passes a group of fishermen who are gazing at the great skeleton, which is 18 feet in length. So I told you that he brought back to the seashore the marlin skeleton, and by then he collapsed there and he fell on the harbor. And by then the mandolin he comes and he saw and he went to fetch something to the man because his complete hand is bloodshed. And he found that the man is unconscious. In that time, the group of fishermen they passed the this Santiago are gazing at the skeleton, which is 18 feet in the length. They all are so baffled. They were so mortified for a while, and they were so surprising looking at the 18 feet length of fish, which they haven't come across before. And the old man wakes up to find the boy next to him, and he's glad to talk to him instead of to talk to himself. Immediately, and the physical strain, the problem that he had undergone, are not at all a matter to him. The pain and suffering. Immediately, he looks at the old man, he looks at the mandolin, and he smiles at him. And what's the revert, the reply from the boy? The boy tells him that the coast guards and the aeroplanes, the people were searching for you because you have gone to the sea and you were not seen for 2 days. And where were you? And people, the people, guards have gone forth in searching of you. And aeroplanes have been searching for him. And eagerly, in spite of what his family might say, they must get new killing lines and knife. And now, I told you, Santiago, he mustered his courage and he gathered courage and he determined once again, let us not keep quiet. Because after all, he suffered, after all, he struggled a lot. And in the marathon, in the saga of suffering, in the kind of, the suffering, and he decided to regain his strength, muster courage, and delve into fishing again. So they must get new killing lanes and knife. And that afternoon, tourists seeing the marlin skeleton among the rubbish in the harbor think it is a shark because they misunderstand and attempt explanation by a waiter. Because it is just a skeleton, the visitor whoever come to see this skeleton, they think that it is just a shark, not that a marlin. But whereas they are all, but people have surprise and irony of ignorance after the whole man's great battle. So people, so despite of his destruction, which we could not bring back to the, which we could bring back to this shore, and in the wealth or whatever, and people, and there was a surprise of his great fisherman's attempt and bringing back to the seashore, and they believe that it's a great battle. And in hut, the old man sleeps, defeated in one battle, and yet prepared to fight another. And then, I told you that they think that he's an unlucky fisherman, but now they understood his, the incessant effort, the pursuit that he made to prove that he's a lucky fisherman. And it is known by the boy. And that's where the novel ends. And he decided to decided to make his further attempt, further expedition in terms of to go on proving once again, that he is a lucky fisherman. So now, so far, almost for 57 minutes, dear students, I have narrated the entire story in a nutshell. And for example, the old man the sea. I think I told you as in the beginning, the entire novel is a very much symbolic. Whole novel is a very much symbolic of some Christian representations, values. And after that, as all in all, one thing that you can't forget, the values of the transcendentalism. That kind of, I told you, when the God dwells within you, when the God is residing inside your body, and you are not supposed to accept the defeat. You have to win over. You have to, the plunge into action. You should do it, and nowhere, you are withdraw yourself from doing the great pursuit. So the entire novel, if you look at the Santiago, he represents something. He represents that yes, we should not accept the defeat. If you look at the Manolin, yes, despite of such a helpless situation, he is there to help the boy, and he's there to be his companion. For the good questions, important questions, I suggest to look at the study material. Okay, whatever the question confined to your novel confined, you can always ask me questions, and I'm there to help you out. Okay, and coming back to my narration, saying here, so the boy is represents some, represents supportive and helping in the need, and is trust, the closeness, all that. Whereas the sharks and the sharks are almost like a villains in the novel, which attack this Santiago, and that's where the novel ends. I mean, you are the critic of your own. I strongly suggest you to read the study material, and even before that, read the original text. That's the Old Man the Sea. It's a small text. It's called as a novella, and I told you it's got the Nobel Prize in 1954, and gave him the recognition. And I know that I told you in the beginning that this novel is known for the mastery of narration, and he could do it very well. So, dear learners, I'm going to stop the session because next class starts. and wish you good luck. And so far, I've dealt a single chapter from every text and made you understand that. And tomorrow is the last day. I'll teach you another text from your European classics. And I wish you good luck and do well in your exams. And so I'm going to leave the session. Okay. And you can free to talk to me during the official time, 10:30 to 5:30. Of course, some of you have been calling and clarifying your doubts. So wish you all the best. And attend the next class. Okay. And today till 4 o'clock. So see you people then. See you tomorrow at the same time between 10:30 to 11:30. Okay, bye. I'm going to leave the studio. Anyhow, you have my number. You can talk to me on your phone and you can share your views, share your remarks, and put your viewpoints. And it's a well received. Okay, yes.